Welcome back to SwitchCorner. It's volume 14 of our Switch Gem series. Here I'm choosing 5 games. Most of the time I'd say like hidden gems, but occasionally I will slip something a little bit more obvious in there just because I want an excuse to talk about it. But from there I'm going to be breaking down why I like it, what you can expect from the experience, and then help you figure out in general, should you like add it to the library immediately, or maybe at least put it on that watch list and be patient for that next sale. So with that luck, hit subscribe if you love the Switch as much as we all do here. Join our growing family. Also, come chat with us all over at Discord. We have finally launched our server there. And yeah, let's get started. So this week I was revisiting my Vita collection, and one game I own there and on the Switch that I love, and I don't think I've ever actually spoken about before, Salt and Sanctuary. Now this term's used a lot and often in the wrong way, but this is for sure a 2D Souls-like. It's just taking so much influence from it, it pretty much screams it. Yes, though, that does mean brutal difficulty and a combat system that, while simple enough on a control front, does demand precision. Don't expect basically to be running in, swinging your sword or weapon about like some sort of idiot. You actually need to account for your enemy's skill here, the weapons they possess, and understand the animations coming at you that are literally, pretty much gonna decimate you. What I like here though, being 2D, it does also bring an element of Metroidvania and platforming maneuverability to the party, and we just don't see that too often in a Souls-like. Swinging your sword, dodging, jumping, all while facing these enemies, I gotta say it feels incredibly satisfying. Throw into the mix then character creation, skill trees, a whole host of items, and yeah, this will not hold your hand, it will kick your ass, but I walked away with a sense of accomplishment, which I believe is the backbone of an experience like this. Wrapping up this one then, the visual style. It's unique with a very dark tone to it all, but still capturing cartoon-like hand-drawn style, and it really works into the violence on offer. Often these worlds will be dark and grim, but it won't be long until you're repainting the walls with your enemy's blood. I was impressed. It's not easy, and there's for sure a learning curve. It's not going to tell you what to do, but I can absolutely get behind recommending this one, having played it now on the Switch, the Vita, and the PS4. It just keeps on calling me back. Alright, so let's lighten the mood now. Vitamin Connection. I reviewed this on the channel and I really enjoyed it. Coming from Way Forward, the genius minds behind Shantae, this is absolutely another hit. The idea is simple, if kind of out there. You'll be taking on the role of Vita Boy and Mina Gold, 2 pilots of a vitamin capsule that look after a family. They basically take the pill when they're, sick, and you go to work riding around the body, killing off any germs or infections. The story is weird, no question about that, but it's the gameplay where they just really nail it, providing a fun single player experience, but an incredible co-op experience that few games can match. This is not a party game co-op, but actual, use your brain co-op, lots of communication. Single player, it's simple enough though. Move the ship, rotate the ship and shoot while fighting enemies and all sorts of obstacles. It's co-op though that's interesting, reminding me kind of like Lovers in a Dangerous Space-Time. One player will fly the ship, or at least its speed and fire, while the other will rotate the vessel and control the targeting. It's local only, but that makes absolute sense because you will literally be screaming at each other as you attempt to find some kind of unison between your actions. Then alongside the 6-hour single player or co-op experience, you do get a New Game Plus mode where you'll be taking on the role of anti-hero Antibiotic. The gameplay is fun, the visuals attractive for any age, it's actually harder than it looks honestly, and then it's got a soundtrack that appears to be just on a constant sugar high. I check this one out especially if you like your local co-op play. So from bright and colourful now to near black and white, far lone sails, and this is a beautiful game, not only visually but in its handling of its story. While I don't want to ruin anything here, I won't be breaking down story or anything. It's just one of those games that simply starts with a very small idea and they just build from there, and there is just something masterful in its delivery that absolutely hooked me from beginning to end. The idea is simple. You find yourself on this dried out seabed, you'll see the remains of a civilization, and you have this futuristic ship of sorts, and you need to move from the left hand side of the screen to the right hand side of the screen in this 2D world. Through this though, you're going to need to master operating this vehicle while keeping it, in tip-top shape if you want to last the entire journey. What's interesting is the little girl, the lead character, can leave the ship occasionally and walk around, but when you enter it, it gives you one of those, cutout perspectives, so you can see all the internal mechanics, and you'll be managing things like the speed, the fuel, the recycling. Literally, to do this, you just run around jumping into the big red buttons you can see all over the place, but it's surprisingly interactive and fun to join this ride, and I gotta say, it will constantly keep you busy, especially as you see upgrades like unlocking as you progress for your ship. The real standout though, I gotta say, the visual and audio design. You can see for yourself, it looks absolutely stunning, but the soundtrack, another winner here. It's composed by a Joel Schock, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, but yeah, stunning, well worth a listen with or without the game, and you can find it over on Spotify. Into the Breach now from the devs behind FTL, that should scream quality right there, and I can't work out if this is well known or a hidden gem, honestly. Came out some time back now, like it was 2018, I feel like it's well respected. I'm just not sure how well it sold, or would it even be, known to everyone. This was one of the first big stealth drops I really remember that happened, during a Nintendo Direct, and it was really like around the early days of this channel. But what a game this is if you like your tactical strategy. If you don't know FTL, it's a masterpiece of a game, and this one, just as good a level. Here though, you'll find yourself in like small battles. You're controlling 3 mechs to take down swarms of like enemy alien bugs. There's 5 turns per round on an 8x8 grid, and that's all you get to like control the battle and walk away with victory. The weird thing though, the game actually shows you the upcoming attacks and movement of your enemy, so you can actually strategize who you should be blocking first or what direction you should be going. It's really interesting. You'll also be questioning yourself a lot with this. It's not as challenging as FTL if you've played that, but it is a hell of a lot of fun, and it's actually designed to be replayed over and over again thanks to a like built-in high score system and then a ton of equipment. Graphics, they might put some folks off, but I wouldn't do that if you like strategy, as this is pretty much the very best the Switch has to offer. Our last game of the week then, Annapurna Interactive are another level as publishers go, and one of their best games for me by far, Kentucky Route Zero. It's a surreal and modern piece of genius. Originally released as an episodic game over on the PC, this Switch version, it's known as the TV edition, and it brings all 5 episodes together in one package. Basically at its core, it's a point and click adventure, so exploration across multiple locations, then with a ton of conversation. I'll warn you now, if you don't like dialogue choices or reading, this is for sure not for you. But where Kentucky Route Zero excels is in its locations and in the characters that inhabit this world. It all starts relatively somber, but before you know it, it will just turn into like the surreal dream as you're travelling down the mysterious Route Zero, with characters then joining you along the way. It's incredible how much depth they've added to this world and how honestly little information it gives you to hook you. This is a prime example, kind of like Far Lone Sails, of sometimes less is more, and it opens with you just like trying to hunt down an address. And that was enough for me to be locked in from the very beginning to the very end. The eShop description was what got me interested though, as it describes some of the inhabitants, the aging driver making the last delivery for a doomed antique shop, the young woman who fixes a TV surrounded by ghosts, the child and his giant eagle, the robot musicians, the invisible power company. Weird enough to grab your attention? If so, buy it immediately, you will not regret it. To top this one off then, to the stunning minimalistic visuals and absolutely incredible score. Both of these areas are so good, they almost like become characters in the world itself. It's eccentric, it's strange, and yeah, it's just really weird, and I love it for it, as few games take the sort of risks this one sets out to. And that is it, another week down, a bit more of a somber week in the style of games I've went for. We'll have a kind of horror themed special coming up over the next few weeks, but if you haven't already checked out the other volumes, head over to the channel. There's a ton of games absolutely worth your attention. As always then, look, a shout out to the patrons of the channel who are just going above and beyond to support SwitchCorner. Truly is appreciated, helps more than you know, so yeah, thank you all so much. If you do want to check that out for yourself, it is linked in the video description down below, and then why not check out our Discord too? I've linked it in the description, I've linked it in the pinned comment as well. With that though, hit subscribe if you love the Switch as much as we all do here, join our growing family, and I'll see you all on the next video. Thanks everyone.